Good day, friends. I am Bogarin, and welcome to Pathways of Hope. Today's Gospel reading is from Luke 19, verses 11 to 28. This is about the parable of the 10 minas. Now, we may often mistake it for the parable of the 10 talents from Matthew. Although they are very similar, they are distinctly different. The parable of the 10 minas was given by Jesus in Jericho on his way to Jerusalem. He had a larger audience here. In Matthew's parable of the 10 talents, he said it in Jerusalem with his apostles as his intimate audience. A mina is equivalent to about 3 months' wages, and a talent is much more valuable, equivalent to 60 minas. The parable begins with the nobleman who leaves his town to a faraway country to be appointed as king. He called 10 of his servants and gave them 1 mina each. His instructions were, "Put this money to work," he said, "until I come back." The nobleman returned after being appointed as king, and he called for his 10 servants to see what they have done with the 10 minas. The first servant said that he gained 10 more. The king was very pleased and put him in charge of 10 cities. The second servant said that his mina earned 5 times more. Again, the king was very pleased and put him in charge of 5 cities. Now there was a servant who handed back his mina wrapped in a cloth and said, "Sir, here is your mina. I have kept it laid away in a piece of cloth. I was afraid of you, because you are a hard man. You take out what you did not put in and reap what you did not sow." At this, the king became very angry, and he replied, "I will judge you by your own words, you wicked servant. You knew, did you, that I am a hard man, taking out what I did not put in and reaping what I did not sow? Why then didn't you put my money on deposit, so that when I came back, I could have collected with it interest?" The master took away his one and only mina and instructed to give it to the one who has 10. At this, the other servants reacted, "But sir, he already has 10. The master replied, "I tell you that to everyone who has, more will be given, but as to the one who has nothing, even what they have will be taken away." I'd like to focus on the last servant. He feared his wicked master so much that it pulled him to inaction. His fear paralyzed him. He dwelled on his excuses about his hatred for the king, that he's a hard man and that he takes what others worked hard for. Aren't we often like that? We have endless excuses and rants about other people, about the difficulty of life. My boss is so difficult to deal with. My parents are so strict. My teachers don't know anything. My life is always a series of unfortunate events. So on and so forth. We have become paralyzed by our own negativity, that we can no longer move and take the first step out of our misery. The last servant focused on his fear that he forgot what he was given. 1 mina. He took for granted the value of what he's been given. He thought of it as nothing. Let's ask ourselves, have I been so focused on my fears that I forgot to see what I have been given, that I forgot to use them? What are your minas? What have you been given that you might have taken for granted? For starters, you woke up today and you are breathing. That in itself is a gift. Not everyone gets to live another day. God has a wonderful plan for you to live today. In prayer, let's ask Jesus for strength to step out of our fear and to acknowledge the minas we have been given. First, let's pray for a grateful heart, to acknowledge that we have been given so much to be thankful for. It can be our talents, the supportive people around us, or our resources, or even just our time. Ask Jesus how He wants to use and multiply these gifts. Lord, how can I be a better disciple with these gifts? How can I further glorify You? God is generous, but at the same time, He is also just. When we use our gifts wisely for Him, He can multiply them. But if we don't use them, they may be taken away. As the saying goes, you don't use it, you lose it. At the end of our lives, I pray that we may all be called good and faithful servants. Again, this is Bogarin from Pathways of Hope. Have a blessed day.